تا به امروز ماست بختیاری صدف رو امتحان کردید؟
خیلی خوشمزه است.
دوغ بختیاری صدف رو چی؟
خوش طعم و دلپذیره.
طعم و مزه ماست بختیاری صدف یادآور همان لبنیات منطقه بختیار در ایران است.
دوغ بختیاری صدف رو نوش جان کنید و با ماست بختیاری صدف سفره خودتون رو زیبا و کاملتر کنید.
بله، انتخاب صدف انتخاب بهترین است.
Mani vorun qati rqab min yemi yukhati chumrina manatra dagahi iki dünya azina khabniyat khatamet bina
أترى مغب شلام على خنيت في كمسبايلا وديو إلى يوم تلوشي بسات أسرة برمشة جمديت لوس أنجلس خمديت شافرت خمنت هاو شاخينا كل بياناتي جو لوس أنجلس خيني نمبر بتاعين لخب شامن أمريكا متيرة إن الدكتور هاو شافرت جرت لهوليوود لخلا كل ناشكة نخ بخايا سام زودة طلعنا فيلم نحن بيته بعد إن كنا يسبام ديتلا هاو عارف خملة جداً يومانه خادري من مطرة تيرا مثلا كماشين لا مطرة رابع خدشة برايا لا كاليفورنيا بريشة جو سادرين كاليفورنيا جو قدام ديك تاخنا بخايا كبدادا بوصرت 100 يتن خادريا ناش شماني مبرزينا ساو كامو 100 خجلنا بشاك 100 راو ما برخت إن كل نايت من قام از شركة بين لوس أنجلس قبلهم شينا قدا خرزة قد كل التي والبياش الخزية بيايتهم جو تلفزيون خازيتهم لجو ساتلايت بخزايتهم برضه بشر جو يوتيوب إنن موديل بار بتاعنا خرزة بتاعي خطرة شبات خينه أنت أخنا خرزة كاتوخو ماوي وقت لايف كم سيتهم جو فيسبوك هر إيه دانا خازيتهم له يعني من خرزة كاتخنا كاتوخو ماوي وقت جو فيسبوك زبط بيش موزية كاتوخن جو بتواتوخن انتلوخن ساتلايت كم سيتهم خرزة خازيتهم له جو فيسبوك إنا ومدي وجانا قايا برسوبك لتلم ساتلايت لنا بغزايو إنترنت أوريتهم عزيزهم جو www.parstv.tv بغزايتهم بلا شاشة التلفزيون آين كاتوخم تانية بلا لخن دوز أخرز خايب خازيتهم من كتانا هديهم لخن همزومن كم سيتهم جو سايدت بارس www.parstv.tv خرز ديان كت وشيبان لايف خازيتهم له يوم دروي تازه ساتر فريقة بوزايتهم مدري كم سيتم ورتون جو بارس تي في تاما خازيتهم جشارة الخرزة أطري مغبنا خخ من صدف كاتوخ مغزيلي أدرتاجية مغزيلي قد آني نسبونسر ده خرزة صدف فلتر خمسة تازة أدخال جو بازر تازة تيتلا بشمت بختياري لخا شوطة يتن جو إيران بختيار تام كل انت خلو ديرا باسيمة اب مستا بشتري بنيتا الدب بنيكت اني تام امسك زرزي ولا رابط طمنت له رابط بسمت له انا كاتون ريكومند بعدين كتت انا مثلا شكلتهم جربيتهم لا مثلا مجد رابا بسمت له صدفي لخاب انا تريشن من الخانبن وين سبونسرد اصلاي دا خرزنا كاتين خيرون كدانا خرزه كاتوخون كس شبت معي خرزه دولياتره موقع بجتري يت قطلاسم تعبني بشارت خرزه كاتوخون خطرات السرطه ميال السور بمنظمه كدت بيروتينا خطالت لا زيمو يال كل من ديك من سروتو جبيتا بجريتم بزايتم يال ديوخون اتلخا تالنت له كامس خام ديابني لا شكت من بيشني تقدي بغزاتون يال السورة داخل سواي طاولنا إن كشارة خرزة خير من دي بريشر من يوم خين كاتوخم متخوا أنا بغداين كده كاتوخم جو فيسبوك متشخلي كاتوخم ماتوي من كتخازيتم لون تا بربرقله اخنا دوست بعض اخين جو همزمت دي كنت فيديو من مملكة نهرن انويا انترفيو منه فيديو من بشان انجلسي لا خازيتم كنت يعني قابون من عدي تازه قابون من اي مت شولان بعد لا كشغلت خيروتا كاتوراي خدكتا كتويا كديان خد تخو معويني كتام مسخيخن كديان لاجسني ان لم ذاك ما متوين تبتو يعني قسام لا يدخل أنا من ميكرا رامون أمريخاس هم زم غلدا قصات أو تبعي لكتون خبران خاته موديل بارك خرزة ميكرا رامون أمريخاس تعبيره هم زميات بالنيوز كت شفت الداور قبل بنا ينهل أوديو كت بدي مطينا كتوهم تناخون كدمو قبوم اللي بريشتم تأطوريتا يك الدنيا داخل مويدا لأطوري مغبة أزخن قطة فيلم خزقله كتينا يال السوري طاول خاطلت روا شابرتلا جشكم جانوخون منو لزج كلهم وارتان
أنا كل خرانيتي ويلخا شينا فيلو شينا جانوخون مايس مالي ليس شامندي دخلت زيمون اني ثالث وتمناث شطراني ما كم خامل نية براتت مختاري لا
شبر عيني مخ شبر خليت منه شبر خلي باينه والد داوم نادي خز شبر عيني مخ شبر خليت منه شبر خلي باينه والد داوم
أمرني أخو أي بقطة تيلا مش تسموقة كمان شطرنتك مني لا عبرات المختاري لا ما شم زينوك
زين زينوك بلاد مختار دوكن صوصيا زوجي وشافر تخشما موكن لزين زينوك بلاد مختار دوكن صوصيا زوجي وشافر تخشما موكن
آتي تولخ قبل قلت لبي وين كل خير هون النخ ما أمرت آتي كل مرة
أترى مغبر دا جشارة الخرزة كاتوخ مغبري وديو أخدياني لم يكرت نهر أنوية كتير خاوتا جشولان أمتناي أنا كقرن الشميرة مثلا مجد شولان قد بعديلا مخاد نقب مخاد خمت أطوريتا ليلة بكلايا بالخانة جشول جانو هربيدان كل دكتور إيلا برشة كونغرس برشة دكان خين لابي بعديلا هم زوم لا خبرانو تانيلا أنا شفت دابر خرزة متيري كاتوخن فيديو كتير هم زوم كونغرس وديوز خاصة كاتون بود متندين هم زوم ديو شاميتم الله إن باين تانكت بايا خنا خام ديو داخن جا كت خانو من جبيت شارخن جانا خاب سرباز خناش آوودا أمت جانا جبيت جانا كم تشارخ كجوان خامات دين جن مرفخر من سورته الروح أمتنيت جديه برخلا الروح إلى جو فخرت نهرين كانوا مسبب كل خيل وكل جانو ما تيتلا قدام سني خوشي قد بيلي قوم تاوتوريتا خادك تمام طيارة نهر راب شين تيتا شلام را داخبت
Shans, Asima, thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you because you've always been active and I love the way you are working for our cause.
Thank you. It's an honor and I will definitely never stop.
I hope everybody at home, they're going to see the way you're doing it. They can do it too. Because we need more activists, because everybody should start from his home. Our home is our land. We don't have a country, but our home is our home. We can start from there and be activists, be active and start together.
That's right. I definitely think that, you know, it definitely plays a toll on you. It takes energy out of you, but it's so worth it. And, you know, when I look at the faces of the children, our children of Atur, it definitely motivates me to do it more. And the more I speak to our people in Umta, you know, it makes me, it gives me energy and power to do it.
So by you working full-time, isn't that?
Yes.
After working full-time.
I don't sleep at night.
5 days a week. And sometimes I see you on Facebook, actively putting the messages. It's almost an hour. Your time is 2, 3 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
But you're 3 hours ahead of us.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I said, you are 3 hours ahead of us, but I see you're active at 3 o'clock in the morning and you're doing things.
Yes, I try to respond to a lot of people's messages, and you know, the ones that I haven't got to, yeah, I'm really sorry, but I'm trying to. There's a lot of questions that come through, and just, you know, a lot of information and just statements, and people, Nashadian, they're venting. So I try to respond to all of them accordingly and just timely. And I also try to, you know, block just the newest information, and then you know, because social media is so important nowadays, and that's why I really advise all of our people, even if they don't have Facebook account or Twitter or Instagram, get one, because that's how a lot of people get their information, and it's extremely powerful nowadays. A lot of people don't even listen to the news. Sometimes they listen to online news or social media news and updates. So I try to keep everyone that is following me on my public account and my personal account that I made public. And then I have Instagram, and my Twitter is connected to Facebook. So I try to blast out a lot of news there. And we do get a lot of support. You know, sometimes I will broadcast the humanitarian nonprofit organizations and try to get them to get donations, you know, because they're definitely in need. So I try to do that through a lot of social media, not just, you know, public speaking, not just the news, mainstream media, but definitely, I definitely advise all of our people to get public, you know, or Facebook accounts and just keep posting awareness, because you'd be surprised how many people contact me and they're like, wow, we had no idea, even though it's been on the news since last June of what's been happening in Iraq and Syria, but they just, you know, some people are just so caught up in their work and they're always on their phone that they never really watch the news.
They are pretending that they don't know. It's impossible. Nobody today, somebody tells I don't know what's going on.
Right.
Because there's so much talk about it. It's just unbelievable. They're fooling themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I love your shirt.
Thank you. Thank
So
you. This was sent to me by a dear supporter, John, and he just, you know, I promised him that whenever I would ever do other, you know, interviews, that I would wear this patriotic Assyrian shirt. So I'm definitely proud to wear it, and I love it, and thank you for it.
Well, give me his email. I can ask him to send one for me, or maybe we can introduce him to sell more for him to make for people to have it. Is there any site for that?
Yeah, he told me that he's making, I think, 2,500 shirts, and his name is John Perillo, and I met him through social media, and he contacted me, and we knew a few mutual people here in Michigan, and he sent it to me as a gift. So
I know John Perillo. I know him very well. He's a good man.
He's a great person. He's the one who sent it to me.
Okay, so. Nhren, let's talk about that meeting you had in the Congress.
Yes.
How did it happen? Who invited you? What was the occasion?
The occasion was In Defense of Christians. IDC is a wonderful, wonderful organization, and it's newly established since last year. Ever since ISIS invaded, and they saw that Christianity was affected, they formed, and the CEO is actually Lebanese Christian. And so one of the people they're defending are Assyrians, and they brought quite a few people from our community just to come and visit. And, you know, they're trying to politically get involved in D.C., and they're located right there in Washington, D.C., near Congress. So they've been advocating heavily for us. They're, in fact, pushing the internationally protected safe haven. So they brought me, they invited me, and I went there, and I gave a few statements in front of quite a few Congress people, and also lots of policymakers, different media, and I spoke to, they also encouraged us to lobby as well, and I definitely wanted to speak to a lot of Congress people just to let them know what we're demanding, because there just seems that there's a lot of confusion. So I, myself, and a few other people, we attended an extreme heavy day of lobbying, and we hit about 24 congressional offices and spoke to, you know, different decision makers, and just told them that it's very important for Assyrian Christians and fellow minorities to have an internationally protected safe haven. I said we are the indigenous people of Iraq and Syria. That's the least we can have. And, you know, I specified that definitely the Nineveh Plains doesn't belong to anyone. It doesn't belong to the Kurds or the Arabs. It's our rightful capital of our ancient Assyria. And I also suggested that, and in fact demanded that, we need direct military arms, that it needs to stop being sent to third parties because it will never get to us. So if they truly want to help us, the only way is if they start to help us directly. No more middlemen.
Really,
that's
you
what
believe
I said.
on them? Do you believe that what they are saying? They're going to help us to get our Nineveh plain? That's impossible, because between Kurds and Iraqi, they don't want us to be there to begin with, and they want to give us autonomy or just have 7.
I think that one good thing that they had mentioned is that if the Kurds ever want their own autonomy, the only way is if we have our own autonomy. So they released a proposal that same day that I was there, and it was the genocide resolution. So that this, first of all, needs to be acknowledged as a genocide. It doesn't deserve anything less than that, because what truly happened to us is a genocide and a complete annihilation of our religion and ethnicity. So that's something that when I was there and after we left, it went from just having, you know, about 45, 50 congressmen on this genocide resolution to now I believe they have a little over 100. And that's really important, because in this genocide resolution, it also says that we must be protected and that we need an internationally protected safe haven. So those, you know, that's something that with the pressure of, you know, putting pressure on congressmen to keep signing this. Last week, there was a congressman in town that I met with, and he was a wonderful man, and he was in very big support of Assyrians, and I spoke to him about the genocide resolution. I told him what we're asking for, and I gave him a lot of inside information, and he was on board. He honestly, I think at that point, whatever I would have given him, he would have signed it because he became so passionate about the cause. And that's what it takes. It takes someone very passionate to talk to these people, to let them know why it's so critical for you to support us right now and not, 2 years from now or 3 years from now. We need it. Time is very sensitive. Time is very sensitive for our people because Iraq and Syria is being emptying out of our people literally by the week.
That's what they want. They want us to be out of there. For the last 100 years, twice happened. One is 1915, one is 1933, similarly. Iraq is so far they don't admit that was genocide in Iraq beside Turkey. 1933 they don't admit, they don't want to accept it. We've been massacred by Kurds. This particular occasion, 1933 in Semele, by knowing the kings of Iraq. So they don't want to accept it, they don't want to admit what this happened. Do you think they're going to let us admit that they're going to admit this time what's happening to us?
Right. I definitely think that it's going to take a lot of pressure, and I definitely do believe that we've made quite a few mistakes in the past as Americans, as the British. They made quite a few mistakes. We have definitely, as not only as Assyrians but as Christians, we have been betrayed by a lot of nations. And
Especially
I also
Britain.
did speak to them
Especially
about
Britain.
that we have to be empowered. That if you want to help us, you have to empower us. That we do have a history of empowering people that have turned their backs around and hurt us. Like right now, there's been so many attacks in the United Kingdom, and there's been attacks on American soil. There was an attack in Australia. There was the Kurdish kid that was shooting their veterans. So we have to, and then we had, Al-Qaeda. So all these people and then you have the Syrian rebels that are handing over weapons to ISIS, and we're giving weapons to Syrian rebels. It's like, at a point,
there is no rebel. There was 13 people. For 13 people, they spent $55 million to train 13 people. 7 of them been killed. There is 5 people. It's embarrassing to see the country spending $55 million, the American taxpayer, only they train 5 people. 5 people.
Right, and that's our tax dollars. So our tax dollars are constantly going to these Islamic groups that are not only Islamic, but they're radicals. And then instead, they should be sending to long-term allies that will be dependable, allies that cannot be infiltrated. And I mentioned that when I was lobbying is that, I gave them information about who the Assyrians are and, a pamphlet of our history. And I spoke to them very, very deeply about, our history as being allies, our history in that country, tracing back to almost 7,000 years ago, that we are the roots of that country. And, they were, most of them were in agreement, and, they were very in support of the genocide resolution. But all it takes is, I feel like even Congress, it's become such a, almost like a business. Like you have, they have a lot of staffers, staffers that work for the congressman. By the time you get the actual information to a congressman, unless a lobbyist is extremely passionate in the way they speak and what type of message they're delivering to these congressmen, it's not going to get anywhere, because they get paperwork up to here of all different types of demands from all different people all over the country. And, if it's not given to them with aggressiveness and passion, then they won't really do anything about it. And then you have to follow up with them. There's definitely a lot of work that goes into it, but it's definitely worth it. And I definitely think that, especially if there are any, Shuraya Gu DC, if there's Assyrians in DC, please, when you have a day off, or, I understand people are occupied with their work, but when you get a chance, go to Congress, set up some appointments with congressmen, spend a day lobbying. We all have to make an effort, because you have lobbyists. For example, the Kurds, they have tons of lobbyists, tons.
They have the money, they have the oil's money.
Exactly, they're using our own oil money to lobby, but with that to the side too, you have so many different lobbyists there who are, funded by their nation. Unfortunately, our nation momentarily is highly financially affected just because we have been in a diaspora for so long. But we really need to start somewhere. And, I understand that we have lobbyists there right now. They're working hard to lobby for us, but they need help. We need more lobbyists. That is definitely something that needs to be on the Assyrian agenda for our entire nation is we need American lobbyists. If you live in the United States, or especially if you are constantly traveling to Washington, D.C., make a stop there and, just make it an effort and a dedication to your nation to lobby. That should be one of the top priority things for us to do is to constantly speak to these congressmen. And some of them are great people. Like, I made friends with quite a few of them. Some of them were so in support of what they wanted to hear more. They were so anxious to learn more. Just to see that there's Assyrians that are so passionate and that to hear information that is so in depth, because a lot of times they give very general information. And it's not as detailed as they want. When I told them that, I can connect you.
Nhren, look at the news in the United States. They know everything, but they don't broadcast. All they do is what they want to be broadcast. Otherwise, we don't have no news. We don't have a news organization. These are the gossip or who killed who. That's our headline news. When they go to breaking news, it's somebody who killed who. They don't have that much to give information to American public to let them know what's happening around the world. So I'm going to ask you one question. What do you think about Russia getting involved in Syria? What's your opinion?
I think that I understand there's, not a very good political relationship between the United States and Russia, but I believe that Russia stepping into Syria and just, making an initiative to destroy ISIS, I think that's wonderful. I don't think anybody should have any types of negative criticism towards Russia because they have been advising to go in and take out ISIS, so nobody truly did it. So they developed a strategic plan to do it, and so far they have been very successful. In fact, Iraq has also made a plea to Russia that, hey, when they're done with Syria, come right on into Iraq and take ISIS out. And Russia, I think that it's a wonderful thing that, they're destroying ISIS. I think that many countries should collaborate together to take out ISIS because it's definitely a huge threat, not only to the United States, but as you can see, there's quite a few ISIS militias that are traveling with those refugees, the refugees that are crossing the borders through Europe. And, they've been captured by many photographers that they're traveling, they're camouflaging right with the refugees, and they're crossing our borders. And some of these are pretty high ISIS commanders.
Exactly. Look at them. They're all men. Out of 10 people, there's 8 of them that are men. You find one woman, one small child crossing the border. So pretty soon the ISIS will be in Europe, and then 20 years from now, there will be no Europe as a Christian nation. Right. They're going to go so many radical over there.
They're already there. Oh, they're definitely already there. Yeah. And they're here too in the United States. They're pretty much everywhere at this point. And I truly believe that it is our mistake as the United States of America, the country I'm a citizen of, it is our mistake that we didn't take out ISIS when we had a chance, when they were in Mosul, when there was just a few of them there that we could have easily wiped out, or at least did something to stop them, and we didn't.
I'm saying 5,000 ISIS, 50,000 soldiers, Iraqi, they left their equipment, they left their guns, they left their tanks, they run away. From 5,000 ISIS. I mean, you cannot even believe it to talk about it.
And George, actually, internal information from Iraq, did you know that the initial number of ISIS militias that first came into Iraq to lead the whole project, there were only 800. Yeah. In the sleeping cell, from the sleeping cells, which the largest one was found in Erbil, then there were 10,000. So then those 10,000 right now in 2015, now there's over 100,000 of them. So imagine, because of our lack of involvement to stop them, this is how much they've increased to. So really, nobody can say anything to Russia at this point of why you're going into Syria or Iraq, hopefully that they go in there too to stop ISIS, because we're not doing anything. So why should they wait any longer and wait for the United States to act? That is our problem. That is our mistake.
At the moment, United States blaming Russia, they killed civilians. They don't blame themselves. Just 2 days ago, they killed 20 people in Doctors Without the Border. That was a mistake. They said this mistake happened, so mistakes everywhere happen. Why we make mistake is mistake, but if they do the accidentally, that's not they are killing a civilian. So it's very bad word. We don't know what's happening, and they don't let us know. How much you're hopeful, Nhren? How much hope you have? How much hope you have we have something will be done in the United States for Assyrians?
How much hope do we have for the United States to help Assyrians?
Yes.
I believe that we definitely have. We don't have a large, tremendous support yet, but I think that we have the right people, and we need more people to join this effort. But I think at the end, I think that the United States will have no choice but to help the Assyrian Christians, because it is going to come to a point where anyone that they are allying with, I don't believe they're going to stand for the United States any longer, because we've already given them a tremendous amount of power, and they are not wanting to ally with the United States. They were just literally strictly using them to receive weapons and funds. So I think that in Washington, you know, especially like an organization like IDC, in Defense of Christians, and then, you know, we have other lobbyists that are working in DC. But I think that all of our collaboration together, by putting pressure on Congress, I think that they will definitely help us. But I believe with this current administration, I don't think that we're going to get anything. Even we've had, there's been even Democratic congressmen and Republican congressmen that have said the same statements. They said, we just, you know, our hands are tied right now. And they're pretty much saying with this current administration, they are not interested in doing anything more and anything less. They're just, you know, the crisis will become worse. Possibly with the next leadership, you know, the next presidential candidates, I think that it's very important to register to vote and to also really pick your leadership wisely. You know, I advise Assyrians to listen to these presidential candidates to hear which ones speak about the Middle East so much.
None of them. None of them. They don't know even what Middle East is. None of them.
I mean, they've been, you know, mentioning here and there, but I think that we really have to focus on who is focusing the most on the Middle East. Because if they don't show any interest, if you hear a presidential candidate make statements such as, that is not our issue, then that's a red flag. That's a red flag, because evidently it is our issue, because first of all, we went to Iraq, we changed their entire government, and then we were responsible for pulling our troops. So as Republicans, as Democrats, we made huge mistakes in Iraq. That is our responsibility, what is happening there. It is not the responsibility of any country but the United States, because we made the biggest, most drastic changes in Iraq. So it is, you know, when I hear presidents say that, I'm just, you know, I just question their intelligence. Like, where have you been when our foreign policies have failed time after time after time? If it's not our responsibility, then whose is it? China's? So, you know, evidently we need to do something. And if we don't, we're going to have major issues right here in the United States.
Nhren, do you work with Juliana? She's very active also as you are. She's more than humanitarians.
I'm sorry, what's her name?
Do you know Juliana?
Oh, yes. I met her in Chicago.
I saw your picture with her.
I met her again.
Do you have any working relation? Did you establish any working relation together?
She's, you know, she works a lot with the humanitarian. I believe she has the Iraqi Relief Council. She does a great job with that. And I'm more, you know, involved with the media, and I try to advocate, and I'm more involved politically. So, you know, we keep in touch, but but definitely, you know, whatever she needs me to help her with, or, you know, whatever she can help me with, I would definitely never hesitate to ask, and I hope she never hesitates to ask me.
She's a fantastic person to Tamarazzi. She's very
good. She's wonderful too. We have
many
very
some more
wonderful
like this.
advocates in the nation.
I hope you have some more of this. Nhren, I'm going to give you 5 minutes to let me explain what you've done, what you want to do, what's your next step. So this way we know next time I'm going to talk to Nhren, what will be the subject, what will be the good news?
Absolutely. My next steps, I definitely want to lobby some more. I want to talk to more congressmen. You know, whenever there's also congressmen coming in town and in my state, or at least anywhere nearby, I try to go and meet them and speak to them one-on-one. It's very important to speak to them one-on-one. And basically, I do personally, I really, really want to passionately get more involved with refugees. So I want to hear more stories, and, you know, they try to contact me and I get in touch with them through my social media to hear more of their testimonies. Because testimonies are very important, especially in what I do, because when I speak to an audience, I try to connect these personal stories to these people that have never been to the Middle East, and I try to give them, you know, information about what's exactly happening in Iraq and Syria. I try to paint a picture for them, and when you do that, it really changes someone's opinion and views, and really wakes them up. I also, you know, I definitely want to submit more articles. I'm in touch with quite a few journalists. Sometimes, you know, I get dizzy on the phone talking to them, giving them information, but I definitely don't want to stop that. I want to keep doing that just to spread more awareness so they don't get bored and they don't steer away from the topic. I try to motivate them to write more about the crisis, and basically, you know, my number one goal is to spread more awareness in however way I can. And when I do, not sure if you noticed, but when I do make a statement, I try to make it as passionately and powerful as I can. I always, whenever I make a statement, I just consider it as my only one chance to paint a picture to this audience. So that sometimes it comes out the way it does. But and I truly, I don't want to take credit for anything. I think that whatever I'm doing, I think all glory goes to God, because I think that without God, without Him, I don't believe I would have the energy to do it, or the courage. Because a lot of people think being an activist is just, you know, it's a fun thing, or that some people are doing it for attention, but it's actually a very, very serious thing. You are putting your life on the line. You are jeopardizing your life. You are just putting, you know, a lot of things at risk. There's some things that I really can't say on air, but it's definitely, it takes a lot of energy out of you, and there's been some mornings where, you know, I woke up and I broke down and I just, you know, I prayed for God to give me more energy to keep going, and I do, but that's mainly it.
I hope
really.
Our Assyrian, we have lots of Assyrian with lots of money they have. I hope they're going to wake up from these dreams. They're going to come and start helping for the lobbying. Did you ever talk to Anweya? You had a chance to talk?
I spoke to her in D.C. I spoke to her in Congress, and you know,
What's her take?
Her take? Well, she's actually one of the main congresswomen that initiated the genocide resolution, and you know, she's been definitely trying to spread, you know, awareness, and she's been trying to help the cause. I spoke to her mainly about mentioning the Assyrian genocide more, and she agreed. I just said, you know, whenever you have you know, an audience, especially of congressmen, please, you know, when you mention the Armenian genocide, mention the Assyrian genocide. And, you know, she definitely agreed that she should. And, you know, I spoke to her a few things about the importance of the internationally protected safe haven for Assyrians. and you know, Yazidis, that it's, you know, but she's, you know, it's like kind of preaching to the choir, you know, preaching to the choir. She's on board, of course. She's, you know, her father, he's Assyrian, her mother is Armenian, but
her grandmother is Armenian.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Her grandmother is, she's 80% Assyrian, maybe 20% Armenian.
Oh,
but
yeah.
it's okay.
Yeah,
she did a good job anyway. Nhren, I appreciate very much you took your time.
Thank you.
And I hope you'll be more active in what you are. And if you need any help at any given time, you have something to be special broadcasted that week, I am going to have 3 programs a week. So if you have any particular subject have to be discussed the same week, we can do it. Now I have more opportunity to be on air, the more opportunity to be with among our Assyrian and inform them what's happening. But I'm waiting for you to hear from you most the time what you have planning something to do, we can advance, help you with, if we can anything.
Thank you very much, and God bless you, and you know, God bless Assyria, and I truly believe that our people will come up on top for sure.
الله آشور أمق تدمتي على صدرك نمرد آبتا وهيرانك أتغ بناطرك تكبرخ.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
شكرا بشينا كخا program خينا بخير طالب خازنك. Ladies and gentlemen, I have خورز ديني كدا شبتا من نهرين اللي بتاعنا همزة مياز زودة من ديو كامو مسابي إلى خانق وغوطة إلى الشميران دي سبرخانو كل يوم ليلة بالخان له سطلاق قدمت بدان جاني أنا خذن كخزنا كت صات تريس ديان بايلا حالا بلا بالخانة على الإنترنت إلى بعد شغله بعد ولا كباب أخنا كل خوان نوشن جبيتن كم صقابة خا شميرا خا نمرد كم صقابة شمشن جبار كم صقابة كامو سب أخنا جريك من جبيت شارخ يا رسول مرفقلن كتعمل دي جانا زاب آوده شتافویت اسپاینا برخش جوه بزودت از آخرین او خدام او یار خیران شتافویت کامو مثلا کل مدی مطابقات ل کم سخن خیمه اخنا اطرن شکلن اطرن سوپیلن لا شکلن زبنم اپران کن خرايه رقله من تامه من شاتونياته این دیگه مشق خاپرسد کدام سا مدر دیر گیاتر جانا ام سا تام حقوقت من شکل اخلا از اول دو سامه خن خورزاب خزن خن پرکتیس خورزاب باسی برام
تا به امروز ماست بختیاری صدف رو امتحان کردید؟
خیلی خوشمزه است.
دوغ بختیاری صدف رو چی؟
خوش طعم و دلپذیره.
تمام مزه ماست بختیاری صدف یادآور همان لبنیات منطقه بختیار در ایران است.
دوغ بختیاری صدف رو نوش جان کنید و با ماست بختیاری صدف سفره خودتون رو زیبا و کاملتر کنید.
بله، انتخاب صدف انتخاب بهترین است.
Let's teach them well, let's teach them wise. Make sure we teach them not to lie.
You do all you can to keep them safe. So do we. The 2015 Mitsubishi Outlander. Named an IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus 3 years running.
أترى مغبة خمزمت شميالو خزيالو خن تليبيكت مغبالو خن رابع وتنقبله أنا أمي لديه وميقرأ رامان أمريخاس راو شنتيت مدري
شن داويلو خون بس
كت داود مهادربان هيرانا داخ شو كان حضورود نيخني خبوش بتاود بجيرة قداش ولا بدايم بجلد مبيون لا جلد بلاشز ودليش يا بخشة
هاي تنباسيمة تلقوا بالطيبوتة منو خون كل تشالشياته وشاتنيات بجراشيتهم كمر وقت آها خورزة امتناية
راو شنتي دانا وقتي لك هيرتا متوطيانا وأطري موقع بتاعنا خاصة هم السورة كنت شبتها خبر خاته كتختهم شميتهم لهم خزيتهم لهم من قدام راس خزبة كنت شبتها فقط نموت لو كاديو
بدريت شلامة الكل يشكاني خبيبة آها خرزة خبرانة خاتد أمان وأمتن قد لي الصورة من أمتن بريشايد جو أطرد أواهاتن بتنهرن ين العراق وسوريا أديون مقرب منهم لقاروخهم دروازة ينطرقة تهكلة مديتة بالميرا جو سوريا بشل مخربة ومبقية بيد خلافات ايسيس ين داعش هكلا بيشو بنية بدور الدتري بيد روماية جو أطرد سوريا باتريركة إيتا مدن خيتا سريانيتا قاتوليكيتا مر أبرميوس بيونن بيشو ضيا ورشيما أخا أوضا كشيرا قاهيرتد أمان وأمتن قدامت خد بلاشي خاراي مقرولي القبلتو كأطروات الدنيا وبريشايت كشلطانة سوريا وإيراق بدايت قد متوينة برشونيا بالأمة وهيمانويات خينة من أمة وهيمانوتا وأمتد أطوريتهم شيخيت الدين جو سوريا وجو إيراق خرابات تهاوى روسيا وارلا جو بلاشا أم دار قلايت حكم سوريا وهر أدخى بريشايت وارلا جو بلاشا أم خرابات إسلامايت ايسيس ين داعش حكمة روسيا وأطرواتهم خيد أمو مضوينات قد ويرنا جداها بلاشا أختي كبرختت بلاشا دمانت قوم الجواتر سوريا إن أطروات خين الدنيا مغزوينة الخمية ونجارانويته قد ورطة لا يقلتت قيادة أطروات جورد داها دنيا بأويدال أمن ابن أمتن جو أجستا وجنجارة وقطلة جورا وارنا جو متخخارة جو سوريا وبدا متخخارة تريستر برصوفة من أمن ابن أمتن قد لا قبلالون سربي الهيمانوتيم شيخيته بش نقطيلة بيد خلوات آيسيس ويلون سادت هيمانوتن وسادت أمتن من يوم درويت هالأديون رابا جاهي مديناتي ودكان الرابع أنا قايد إيوة بيدت آيسيس بشلون مبقية بيد خلوات تهاود روسيا وأني مبقياتي وبومبت بشلون مبلخة بيد قوشنة روسيا إنا زودة من كل بومبة ومبقيات أمريكا بالتلا بزودة من خاشية هالعادية أمن وابن أمتن جو سوريا مغزوينة خادوتي وسنتي قوارت خلوات روسيا وأطرواتهم خيد أمي بهي قد شلامة داير داها أطرا جو سوريا وديري البتفاتي وخي بشلامة خامن رب خيل الله قوشن ينجيشة العراق مضوي لقد بغداد أرشخيتة العراق نيخب بجنايلة الجيبت أطرد روسيا بداية قد مضوي لقد مهديانة أطرد أمريكا لينا مغزوي خم كمكلية بلاشة داعش وبزودة مور نضانا جداها بلاشة خامن فرصوفة رابع الله كنشة شلامة ين يو ان بمارلي قد خلوات الداعش أختي تينا الدي نية قد كل تخاري تش إيطاناية أماتي وهيمانيات خين جو سوريا وإيراق تلخيلون ومخربيلون وأختي بيان شوقي التخاري تش إيطاناية ينتو دي ثناية إسلاماية خبر خاراي عهلت قد جو أنكاوا جو جربية العراق خشبا بني أمتن مغزوينا ناراهاتويتا من شوابي بداية قد شوابي أجوزينا ولينا مياقوري وبيتاينا بعدنا خشبا شولان لا شابيري جو دكتت خيوتي جو دين تخوبت بخانة جاوي وداها مريزنا خادان ميزلتا ين راه بيمائي ين ديمونستريشن قد يوم رويتا من قمطرد أمراني بتجوجي وبتآزي لمديتة أنكاوا قد مرمي القالي كمشتعلاني وانت خاشومنا جو أنكاوا طلبي مني قد بيؤرخت قانونا شلامة وبارابرويتا يويلا كأمتن وأمان جداها مديتة قد اتلنهيوي كل أمان جداها مديتة بشرق جاوة خبراني مقربيلي قد يوخن رامان أمريخاس آدا من خرزة آثرايد أوديوم لوس أنجلس كاليفورنيا أمريكا
بسي مرابا ترى متابن كخانة شتاز شهري كشولو رابو سودانية
بسي
مرابا بعد كيك دكتور دانتلن خبز مرتبة متنا قد خرزة بداية بشكل ليه ما تغل ده مشوفته قد قدرتها كخيم خير إن شاء الله
خير مريا
دان دين راب خشة أترى مقبل أخوز دين كدني من channel 1 channel خاب خزيت من آخر ساعت 4 كاتوخم بتفش مغزية كل شبت مطلب 4 شبان ساعت خا خوز دين خزيت من channel 1 إن هل شبت بتايلا شدنا خون خز مرت شميمون بشمت نينوس الشميران أربع براية وأز مترا سباي مشام هلا شميمو الله بتاعت خزون شبت بتايلا مقداد أنا جدا channel من خير من طنا من تمديو باسيمة وش مشينا هل شبت بتاعنا
تا به امروز ماست بختیاری صدف رو امتحان کردید؟
خیلی خوشمزه است.
دوغ بختیاری صدف رو چی؟
خوش طعم و دلپذیره.
طعم و مزه ماست بختیاری صدف یادآور همان لبنیات منطقه بختیار در ایران است.
دوغ بختیاری صدف رو نوش جان کنید و با ماست بختیاری صدف سفره خودتون رو زیبا و کاملتر کنید.
بله، انتخاب صدف انتخاب بهترین است.
رایحه ادکلون و عطر شما نشانه شخصیت شماست که پرفیوم اوتلت با بیش از 6000 نوع عطر و ادکلون معروف دنیا در خدمت شماست. معروفترین عطرها گوچی، ورساچی، کارتیه، کلوین کلاین، دوچه ان گابانا، بربری، هیوگو باس، جورجیو آرمانی و سایر برندها همه کاملا اصل و با بسته‌بندی اورجینال در پرفیوم اوتلت. این یک حقیقت است با 10 تا 60% زیر قیمت دیپارتمنت استورها. این عطرها بهترین سوغاتی در سفر به ایران یا هدیه نوروز، کریسمس، تولد، سالگرد ازدواج، روز گرامی داشته مادران و پدران و سایر مراسم است.
من فرشید به اتفاق سایر همکارانم مقدم شما همزبانان عزیز رو گرامی می‌داریم.
پرفیوم اوتلت همه روز غیر از شنبه ها از 9 صبح تا 8 شب. تلفن 818 992 34 65 عضو 08 و 50 50 100.
You do all you can to keep them safe. So do we. The 2015 Mitsubishi Outlander. Named an IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus 3 years running.